My fiancé declared, "I'm not bringing you to meet my rich friends. You're too much of a liability." I responded, "Got it." Then I walked into her upscale country club as the owner's heir. When she saw me greeting her friends, her world crumbled. I'm Nathan, 32, and I need to vent while this is still raw. My now ex-fiancée, Samantha Worthington, just got a costly wake-up call about prejudice and assumptions. We'd been together 3 years, engaged for 6 months. I'm a heavy equipment mechanic. Solid work that pays well, but apparently not glamorous enough for Sam's standards. She's in medical device sales, earns a good living, and recently joined an elite country club through her boss's endorsement. $50,000 initiation fee, $1,200 monthly dues, the whole package. The trouble began 2 months ago when she gained membership. Suddenly, her weekends revolved around the club. Golf with her crew, charity brunches, cocktail evenings. I was fine with it. That scene's not my thing. I'd rather tinker with my 1969 Mustang or go camping. Then came the conversation that flipped everything. Last Tuesday, she was prepping for a fancy club event. "Nate, I'll be back around 11. Don't wait up." "Another solo outing? When do I meet your new crowd?" She paused mid-lipstick, giving me a look. "Nate, we need to have a serious talk." "About what?" "These people are different. They're sophisticated, discussing stock portfolios and wine vintages, not engine parts and hiking trails. And? You'd feel out of place. And honestly," she hesitated, choosing her words, "you'd make me look bad. Your accent, your job, your hobbies, they're too working class for this crowd." I stared, stunned. 3 years together, living in my house, yes, mine, inherited from my grandfather, fully paid off, wearing the ring I bought. And I'm a liability? Got it. Don't take it personally. I'm sparing you the discomfort. No, I understand completely. She left for her event. I made a call I'd avoided for 2 years. Here's what Samantha didn't know. That country club she's so proud of? My father founded it. Started as a small golf course in 1987. Grew into the elite hub it is now. When he passed 5 years ago, he left it to me and my sister, Clara. I never brought it up, because I wanted no part of it. Dad and I had a strained relationship. He thought I was throwing away my potential as a mechanic instead of wearing a tie. We barely spoke his last decade. Clara handles the operations. I'm a silent partner, signing papers annually and cashing dividend checks, most of which I donate to a local trade school. But after Samantha's words, I called Clara. "Nate, you want to visit the club Saturday?" "Yeah." "You're kidding. You haven't been there since Dad's memorial. Things change. There's a charity auction Saturday, right? For the pediatric ward?" "Yes." "Why? Wait, is this about your fiancé, the new member?" Clara oversees membership approvals and knew Samantha. I need to show up as myself. "Oh, this'll be epic." "Want me to alert the staff?" "Absolutely. Full VIP treatment, update 1. Saturday came. Samantha left early to help with the auction setup. I waited until the event was buzzing, then drove up in my 2004 Ram. Yep, the truck she always griped about cluttering the driveway. Walking into the club felt strange. The staff knew me instantly. Clara had prepped them. The valet nearly tripped rushing to grab my keys. The manager, Winston, who'd worked for Dad for 20 years, barely contained his excitement. "Mr. Sullivan, what a delight. Clara said you might come." "Good to see you, Winston. Place looks fantastic. Shall I escort you to the Grand Hall?" "I know the way, but thanks." The hall was packed, 200 people in their finest. I spotted Samantha at the bar, charming a group of women, including her boss, Ellen, and some board members' spouses she'd name-dropped. Before I could approach, a voice boomed, "Nate Sullivan, is that you?" It was Frank Dawson, Dad's old pal, current board chair, and my unofficial uncle. He charged over, enveloping me in a hug that probably shocked the room. "Clara said you'd show." About time. Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Sullivan is here. Heads turned, whispers spread. The Sullivan name means something here. Frank paraded me around, reintroducing me to old-timers, board members, founding families, people who knew me as a kid sneaking onto the greens. Every intro was, "Jim, you remember Tom's son Nate? He owns this place now." Then I saw Samantha. She'd gone pale, her wine glass frozen mid-sip. Ellen was talking, but Sam was just staring. I strolled over, Frank in tow. "Ellen, great to see you again." "Nate, I didn't know you were... Wait, you two know each other?" Samantha found her voice. "He's my fiancé." The silence was thick. Ellen's eyes widened. The women glanced between us, processing. Frank, bless him, made it worse. "Fiancé? Nate, you didn't say you were engaged, and to a new member. Samantha, you're fortunate. The Sullivans built this club." Samantha stammered. I need some air," and bolted to the patio. I didn't follow. Instead, I enjoyed the auction, bid $20,000 on a Napa Valley getaway for the hospital, not the trip itself, and chatted with her refined friends. Turns out they were intrigued by my work. One guy restores vintage trucks and grilled me on engine rebuilds. Another wanted tips on buying a cabin. Rich folks have hobbies too. Samantha's texts flooded in. "We need to talk now." "This isn't funny." "You deceived me." "Nate, please stop ignoring me." I didn't reply. I was busy talking to Ellen, who'd heard Samantha describe me as in logistics, while she chased connections to elite families. "She said you were shy in social settings," Ellen said. "Did she know who you were?" "Nope. Not her fault. People reveal themselves, eventually." Update 2. I left the auction at 10 p.m. Samantha's car was gone, but she was at my house, pacing the living room. 3 years, Nate. You kept this secret for 3 years. I didn't keep anything. You never asked. That's nonsense. You let me believe you were just a mechanic. I am a mechanic. I fix heavy machinery. That's my job. You own a country club. I inherited a quarter of one. Clara has another quarter. The trust holds the rest. I don't manage it. I barely think about it. Do you know how humiliated I am? I told everyone my fiancé wouldn't fit in, and you're basically their landlord. You're humiliated? You said I was a liability. That was before I knew. Exactly the problem, Sam. She tried everything, sobs, apologies, accusations, said I'd tricked her, that she'd failed a test, that it wasn't fair. Maybe she was right about the test, but I didn't plan it. I just wanted to be loved for me, not my inheritance. You know what stings? If you'd just introduced me as your mechanic fiancé, no one would have cared. Frank knew my job. Winston knew. They value honest work. The only one who thought I was a liability was you. I was protecting us both. No, you were protecting your status. Big difference. She switched to charm. Soft voice, doe eyes. We can move past this. The wedding's in 4 months. This changes nothing. It changes everything. You showed who you are. I showed who I am. We're not getting married. You're serious? Over one talk? Over you not respecting me or my work? She lost it, screaming about lost deposits, her parents' booked flights, how I was destroying her life over nothing. I'll cover the deposits. Your parents can use the flights for a trip. You destroyed your own life by deciding I wasn't good enough for your new crowd. I'm keeping the ring. It's mine. Keep it. Call it compensation for 3 years of faking who you are. She threw it at me anyway and stormed out, tires screeching. Sunday, I woke to 27 missed calls from Samantha, 12 from her mom, Linda, and 50 texts ranging from, "I'm sorry," to, "You're a fraud," to, "We can fix this." The best? Ellen called. "Nate, Samantha's no longer with us." That's harsh. It's personal, not professional. She was leveraging her club connections to clients, promising introductions she couldn't make. Now I see why. She was banking on perceived clout, not actual sales. That's deceit in my eyes. Karma works fast. Update 3. The entitlement went wild. Monday, Linda showed up at my shop in her sleek SUV, looking out of place among the grease and tools. We need to resolve this maturely. I'm working, Linda. Samantha's crushed. She's moved back home. Do you realize what you've done to her social standing? What I've done? That's rich. She made one small misstep. She said I was too much of a liability for her friends. Because she didn't know who you were. So it's fine to belittle me if I'm just a mechanic? Don't twist my words. Samantha deserves a life that matches her aspirations. Then she can earn it herself. I'm not a jackpot. Linda tried to broker a deal, offered a prenup, swore Samantha would value me, suggested therapy. She's not coming back, Linda. Please leave before I call security. She left, fuming. Tuesday, Clara called. You won't believe this. Samantha tried booking the main hall for your wedding. What? Told the coordinator you'd reconciled and wanted the club as a romantic gesture. Cancel it. Done. But Nate, I also revoked her membership. Why? She racked up $8,000 in food and wine over the weekend, claiming it was for a Sullivan family event. Said you approved it. The nerve. She was spending money she assumed I had. Wednesday, a blast from the past. Samantha's ex, Greg, messaged me on LinkedIn. Heard about you and Sam. Same thing happened to me 2 years ago. She found out my dad owned a car dealership and suddenly wanted to reunite. When I refused, she faked a pregnancy scare. Be careful, I sent screenshots to my lawyer friend, just in case. Thursday was the climax. Samantha showed up at the club during a women's golf event. Clara called. Security's got her at the gate. She's claiming she's still your fiancée and demanding entry. I drove over. She was arguing with a guard, crying dramatically, making a scene as members arrived. Nate, thank God. Tell them who I am. I know who you are. A former member who's no longer allowed here. You can't do this. I have friends here. Meet them elsewhere. This is illegal. I paid dues. Clara stepped up. Actually, your membership was through Ellen's corporate sponsorship. Since you're no longer employed there and committed fraud against the club, it's terminated. You'll get a refund for your personal contribution. $0. The crowd murmured. Some filming. Samantha's polished image was collapsing live. I'll sue. This is emotional distress, broken promises. You proposed, and you said I was a liability. That proposal's void after you showed your true self. She tried a desperate move. I'm pregnant. Gasps from the crowd. I laughed. No, you're not. How would you know? We haven't been intimate in 2 months. You've been too busy with the club. Plus, Greg warned me you'd pull this. Her fake tears turned to fury. You're all seeing this abuse. He's humiliating me. Frank stepped in. Ma'am, you're trespassing. Leave now, or we call the police that broke her. She stormed to her car, yelling, You'll pay for this, Nate. I'll make sure everyone knows what you are. Final update. 3 weeks since the club showdown, and the fallout was swift and brutal for Samantha. Her scene was filmed by multiple people, posted online with social climber learns Fiancée owns her elite club. It hit 2.3 million views locally. Samantha tried to spin it, posting an Instagram story about being deceived by a man hiding his identity. No one bought it. Comments roasted her. You called him a liability but wanted his money? Fumbled a whole legacy? Her social standing in our small city? Ruined. Linda called, begging me to stop it. I said I wasn't doing anything. Samantha's actions had consequences. Professionally, it got worse. Ellen warned industry contacts about Samantha's shady tactics. She couldn't land another sales job. Last I heard, she's selling essential oils online, posting about empire building and overcoming betrayal. The ring? She tried selling it, thinking it was worth $30,000. I'd bought it from a jeweler friend, lab-grown diamond, white gold, $3,000. Another assumption gone wrong. Here's the surprise. Clara and I grew closer. We started weekly dinners, talking about Dad, the club, things we'd avoided. She roped me into advising the club's new trade scholarship program, helping kids learn skilled trades. I love it. I met someone new at the trade school where I teach engine repair. Riley's a carpentry instructor, couldn't care less about country clubs, and loves my truck. On our third date, I told her the story. She nearly spat out her coffee laughing. So she thought you weren't good enough, but you own the place. Quarter own, but yeah. That's the best revenge I've ever heard. Was it filmed? I showed her the video. She watched it thrice, cackling. When she says she's pregnant and you just say, "No, you're not." Iconic. We've been dating 2 months. Riley came to the club for Clara's birthday dinner, wearing jeans and a nice top, chatting with everyone like equals. Frank was obsessed with her restored '76 Jeep by the night's end. He pulled me aside. "This one's different, Nate. She sees you, not your wallet." He's right. Riley doesn't care about the club or inheritance. She likes that I make her laugh, fixed her dad's lawnmower for free, and volunteer at the community center. Samantha made one last move. A long email about her growth in therapy, doubtful, how she loved me for me, bigger doubt, and how she'd forgive my deception if I forgave her mistakes. The gall. I didn't reply, just forwarded it to Clara, who laughed until she cried. The nerve, the ego, the sheer audacity of this woman. Samantha did me a favor. If she hadn't shown her true colors, I might have married someone who saw me as inferior until she learned about the money. That's not love. It's a deal. Now I'm with someone who'd date me even if I was just a mechanic scraping by, because that's who I am at my core. A guy who loves fixing engines, restoring cars, and camping on weekends. The inheritance? Just numbers I rarely touch. The club? I only go for family events or charity. When I do show up, in my work boots and flannel, members respect me, not for Dad's legacy, but for what happened when someone didn't. Samantha's still posting about her journey and resilience, still playing the victim. But everyone knows the truth. She thought she was climbing the social ladder, only to realize she'd been with her golden ticket all along. As Riley says, karma's slow sometimes, but when it hits, it's a masterpiece. Couldn't agree more.